Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to my Sunday live stream. I hope everybody can see and hear me okay. I need to fix the chat window over here real quick and then I'll be ready to go. 1 second. All right, almost there. I thought I could fix that during the intro, but always something. There we go. All right, let me move this mic a little closer. Everything just a hair closer. Yeah, good luck finding that later. Okay. Um, yeah, I think we're good. I can put that there. And so good morning. So Timothy Drake is here, has a question. I will see if I can answer that. Ooh, excuse me. Oh my God. Drank my coffee a little too fast today, I guess. System Natura, music with sound, I think. Hi Rob, hi everyone. Not a great day here, overcast. Yeah. Um, sometimes people say that overcast days are great for black and white because the contrast is low and uh, I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe I'll have to try. Today's cloudy and rainy here as well. So I was thinking maybe go out and do some black and white photography. I've been so into black and white lately and really enjoying that. I mean, when I first started digital photography, in 2012, with any being serious about it, um, I hated black and white. I was like, why would you shoot in black and white? We have color. But anyhow, um, oh, Giuseppe's here. Good to see you. DeMorca, Range Rider, Tony. Good to see you. Oh, you like the flash? Thanks. Yeah, I usually carry a flash with me in most situations, just in case. The Godox TT350 is nice compact flash and easy to take with you anywhere. Um, and Range Rider from North Carolina, it's raining there too. Yeah, I think the whole East Coast. I bet if Marcia's here, she could tell us it's raining in Florida too. Oh, she is here. Hi, Marcia. And David, good to see you. Jeff Painter, Jonas, uh, John Follows, John Yutze, thank you. Audio's good. Um, I did get your email. John sent me an email about, I guess, I forget the exact title. I'm having trouble articulating already. But it was about smartphone versus DSLRs or SLRs, mirrorless, and how the image quality of um, camera phones are getting really good, which, it's nothing new, but this is an article on DxOMark where they put images side by side and believe it or not, there was a couple images, I didn't pixel people, but there was a couple images where I couldn't tell the difference between the cell phone and the DSLR, but they were kind of your standard snapshot type pictures, nothing creative, nothing where you really want to take control and do something interesting with your image. And I think that's where cell phones really struggle and just I don't think we'll ever really be able to compete with a real camera is because you have so much control over the exposure that with the additional use of flash in particular that you'll really never be able to duplicate on a cell phone what you can do with a real camera. Uh, at least in the short term, I don't see that happening. It may take several generations of phones and some other breakthroughs in AI and stuff that you might get there. I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but currently I have no desire to shoot with my cell phone. Mainly because the handling is awful. You know, uh, I'm very content with my TG5, which has basically the same size sensor as a cell phone. At least that has, an array of buttons on it that I can use and take a picture, and it's a much better experience for me to use the TG5 than use my cell phone, even though the image quality is not that much different. Um, I mean, I'd almost argue that it's better, that the cell phone does a better job than my TG5, uh, just in straight out image quality. But there's um, there's no way I would, if I had to choose between a TG5 and my Galaxy S9, I would take my TG5, 100%, because of the just the extra buttons and controls and everything you can do with a real camera. Because I can do things on my TG5 that I can't do with my cell phone. Um, so yeah, and I guess I could lay that out, but the first thing that comes to mind is like using flash, right? TG5 has a macro flash adapter, has a real built-in flash, not like an LED light, but has a legit flash, and it has an LED light. I think it has both. But anyway, oh, Marcia says it's sunny in Florida. Wow, so you must be just below where the line is, that we get all the rain in the northeast and you get all the sun in the south. I would love to live in Florida. I got mixed feelings though. All those images I saw out of Miami this week. That looks pretty rough. I hope you're okay. Casper's here. Jan Garcia, good to see you. Michael White and Lysippus. Awesome. Roberto's here. You're enjoying the black and white photos again too. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I just, maybe I'll just, it's a phase and I'll go back to color. But when I shoot in color, I'm just so distracted by the colors. And I'll share with you a few images that I did yesterday. They're all on my Instagram now. So if you want to look at them that way, it's not the best way to look at images, but they're there. And System says, my TG6 is super little camera, great for underwater photos and video and Ollie underwater case. Yeah, and Giuseppe, you like your TG5 over a cell phone all day long, right? And Adam Favors here, nice and sunny, good. Cloudy in the UK. So let me go back to that first question. I think Timothy Drake. Wow, I can't believe that was 15 minutes ago. I just tend to jibber jabber sometimes and lose sight of time. And there I go again. I love the art filters on my Olympus. How are the digital filters on Olympus S5? Can you auto bracket the way you can on Olympus? Far as I know, you cannot. The art filters are pretty varied as well. I mean, they have a good selection of art filters on the S5. They're a little different than what we can get on our Olympus cameras, but uh, they're not bad. They're nice, and but yeah, there's no way to auto bracket those, and that's something I've only seen on Olympus where you can bracket your art filters. And ideally, once you when you're starting out with art filters, I bracketed all of them. I selected all the art filters, and every shot I took, I would get like 16 or 17 JPEGs of art filtered images of that scene, in addition to the raw image. And it gave me a real good feel for what art filters work for different kinds of scenes. And because you might think like this vintage filter will look great on this scene, and then when you take it, you want to throw up because it just looks like crap. So it really accelerated my use of choosing the right art filter when I'm in the scene. So now, um, when I go out, I almost did art bracketing yesterday, as a matter of fact, but I was going to select two brackets or two art filters for every scene. Um, and then I decided not to. I said, I don't want to overthink it today. I just want to shoot because we went to Glen Echo Park with David Crooks, who runs the local photo club here, and you do a great job, David. I really appreciate all the work you put into that, and I'm going to send a little donation for you today before I forget. I mean to do that. I should just do an auto pay for your photo group because it's not a small thing to organize a photo shoot, uh, a photo club, every week, something. Never mind the uh, the time it takes because you have to get there early, you know, in case other people arrive early, and it's quite a commitment, and then try to be somewhat accountable for the people that show up, right, and make sure that if there's people not there, you have to wait a little bit longer just in case they're running late, and so it's like organizing any kind of meeting, right? It takes quite a bit of effort, and I for one really appreciate it, as I know many of the other members in the group do. So that said, um, when I went out, what was I talking? I was talking about, yeah, going out yesterday. I'll just show you a couple images for those of you that don't follow Instagram. Let me see what would be a good window. Yeah, this one here. Uh, but Glen Echo Park is like, I think this was built in the 20s or 30s. I saw a sign or something, 1921, for the carousel thing, which was closed. I didn't put any pictures of that though. Dang it, I missed one. But I used my 8mm fisheye wide angle here on my Pen F, and I always put. If you look at the description, I always put my settings in the description, and whether or not these were straight out of camera or if I did any editing. And everything I put up from this photo shoot is straight out of camera using the mono profile number 2. I'm trying to think if I made any changes. I think the only thing I forgot to mention about the settings on this image is I used a lot of times I used either a green filter or a magenta filter to try to bring the skies in without blowing out any of the reds, because this here, there was a lot of red lines and blue lines everywhere. So I chose green or magenta to kind of, bring the blues back in without brightening up the reds. And I think Maddie Salanto has a video on color filters on black and white he put out. I saw the thumbnail for it this morning. So if I haven't watched it yet, but he always does a good job. So check that out. And I have a video on black and white photography as well, a little bit older, which is very specific to Olympus cameras. So I think it'd be a good idea to watch both, if you're interested in doing black and white. But I think System Nature mentioned something about he loves the 1930s kind of look of these the architecture is really cool. Uh, so yeah, hit up my Instagram. This was kind of a neat shot. I was able to get sort of the trees to kind of frame the person walking into the light area here. So I thought that was kind of cool. And this one didn't come out so great, but it wasn't terrible. I tried to use this tree here and this line here, the shadows from the trees here, to frame this person here. Uh, so this is a typical photo that's technically hits a few composition points and creative points, right? But ultimately is not a very interesting image. Because like I said, I tried to do the framing with the street line here and the shade in the trees and a little vignette. And then I did the asymmetric thing with the person kind of off center. So I hit all of like these compositional points, but it's not that interesting of an image. Um, so, because there's really no story here, right? Um, as you can see, there's no comments. There's very few likes on it. Where when I took the picture, I was thinking technically as a photographer, right? I was just thinking in a very technical way when I took this image. And then ultimately this is a really good example of where the sum of the parts don't add up, to a good shot. And let me see. This is just kind of a fun image, but nothing interesting. This image here is, yeah, one of the few color images I took. I did do some black and whites of these flowers with some filters. Maybe I'll show you those. Because the yellow in the flower is, you can filter that so it's much darker in black and white and you get a good contrast. But this is a good example of where a flash would have been really nice to have because the lighting here is very, very flat. And, you know, the depth of field is a little bit too shallow because the flower here in the front and the blades here are all out of focus, you know. Uh, this was my focus point here. What I should have probably done is focused here on this flower, shot it like f4, and then everything would have been in focus plus some of the leaves down here. And then this would have been still blurry enough. It's dark, so there's already good separation in terms of tones, right? It's a much darker in the background. So I really didn't need to use shallow depth of field to separate the subject. And like I said, it's flat overall, this image, and a flash would have really brought in some nice details and shadows and texture. Um, but compositionally, I like it. It's a good balance. The flowers are a little off center, and the tree trunk in the background gives a nice balance, I think, and texture to the background. So I'm very happy with the composition of this image. I'm just not happy with the lighting and the depth of field. Uh, but this was sort of a run and gun shot. I just saw this flowers here, and I said, "Ooh, let me run up there." And the other thing I did compositionally is what you can't see is right around the edges, just outside of the frame. There's more flowers, so I was very careful to crop all of that out and use the rule of odds. So I got 3 flowers there. I have a textured background, good separation with using light, and the asymmetry for the flower position, the rule of odds. So again, I was shooting in a very technical way, trying to get the trying to get a good image using all of the rules of composition that just came to mind when I looked at this scene. And I think this is where the sum of the parts worked a little better in terms of composition, but I made mistakes with depth of field and I didn't have a flash. So um, I'm critiquing my own photos here. I'm much more comfortable critiquing my own photos instead of other people's, uh, because I know what I was thinking, particularly because I know what I was thinking or trying to accomplish when I took the shot. So, but that's that. And let me go back to the scene here and get back in the conversation. Wow, there's a lot here. And Adam Favor says black and white's one of his favorites. And Rented Tux, hi. I'm using my 4/3 on my EM1 Mark II and finding the pictures not as sharp as my M43 lenses. Any help? It would depend on it would kind of depend on if the problem is it's not focusing, or if the images, even when properly focused, are still not sharp. So try to what I would do is, as always, you need to diagnose and break down where the problem is. So try to manually focus on a subject. Pick a very well textured subject, like some bricks on a wall or something, right? That has good texture, and focus on that manually. Take a picture with a 4/3 lens and a micro 4/3 lens that's equivalent, right? Same focal length, same aperture, same exposure in the end, and compare them. And if you can manually focus and get a sharp image on your 4/3 lens, then then there's a problem with the autofocusing part, right? And you may need to make some adjustments. And I believe the M1 Mark II does have fine tuning adjustments for autofocus lenses, and in which case you can try and tweak that, and that's something in the autofocus menu, and see if that helps. Now, if you're finding that even when you manually focus, you're not getting as sharp an image as your micro four thirds lenses, then in that case, I would have to assume that the four thirds lens is not as good, right? It's just not as sharp, plain and simple. So that would be my recommendation, is to try to diagnose your where the problem is. Eliminate the lens, or eliminate the autofocus system by manually focusing, and then do that comparison. Eliminate as many variables as you can, right? Same aperture, same shutter speed, same focal length. Eliminate as many variables as you can. All things being equal, which lens is sharper, right? And then you can, the only thing you can really tweak from there possibly is the fine tuning in the autofocus. So hope that helps. Okay. Um, Adam Favor asks, oh, hold on. Andreas, hi. And then Adam says, do art filter bracketing significantly increase the card write time? Yes. It will if you're using a slow card. So if you like to do any kind of bracketing, or sports action for that matter, try to use a UHS-2 card. That would be the fastest, and really make the camera a lot snappier in terms of doing photography. It'll perform much better with the UHS-2 card, and all of our Olympus OMDs will accept UHS-2. I'm not sure about other models from there, but the OMDs, definitely the EM10, EM5s, the EM1s, all do UHS-2. And that will pretty much mitigate some of the write card times. Now, if you don't have a UHS-2 card, or don't want to spend for that, right, because they are significantly more expensive, get a video card, SD card, meaning it has a V as in Victor, a V30 speed rating. They're UHS-1 cards, about a third the cost of UHS-2, but they're pretty fast. They have read and write times of like 90 megabits per second, or 90 megabytes. I forget what the acronym is for that, or the correct terminology, I should say. But a V30 card should be fast enough, because what you want, and the reason I say video SD card, it has a V rating. I mean, you can buy V60, V90, but then they get up into the pricing of a UHS-2 card again. Is V cards that are V rated, certified, have a sustained write speed, right? Where it's not going to slow down when you write multiple images at the same time. Because some cards, they say, we're 90 megabits per second, but it's not sustained. It'll do bursting at that rate. And I have found that to be true, where you start writing to the card at the full 90 megabits, but then 2 or 3 images in, it drops down to 45 or 20. It drops down fast. And then sometimes it picks back up again, sometimes it does not. And in photography, really, that, or in both photo and video, that's a problem if you're trying to have a snappy experience, right? A fast, good experience when you're doing bracketing and sports action. So, I try to buy, if I buy any more cards, I'm kind of set for now, but if I buy any more cards, I always look for a V30 when I buy mine. And I only have one UHS-2 card because I don't have a workflow where I need to offload images quickly, right? So V30 sustains me just fine. I can buy like a 256 V30 card for a fraction of what a UHS-2 card would cost, and I find the performance adequate. And oh, thank you, Jeff. You like the black and whites? They were okay. I wasn't 100% happy with them, but I kind of went over them a little bit already. And then Marco says, that don't follow high at all. Listening in on my trip to the gym Hopefully we'll catch the tail and have fun. Okay, awesome. You're working out, man. I need to start working out because this vest, look at this. This button's about to pop. And it's not because, I got some muscles, man. It's like I'm getting fat all the way around my whole torso. Oh, this is, you know, anyway, I'm going to go out on some photo walks now that my neck is doing well. I mean, I'm not 100%, but it feels 100% better than it did a week ago. The park is pretty Art Deco. Yeah, it is. They had all kinds of sculpture, art fairs, and there were some people out there playing music and some other people dancing. It was very artsy, And they actually, David was telling me they have a photo lab there, like a dark room that's open sometimes. So apparently you can go in there and develop film in a dark room. I have to talk to you more about that later, David, if that's a real thing or not. I mean, because of, the restrictions we have now, a lot of the things in the park are very limited. Um, so sorry, I just caught myself saying too much and I'm trying to stop doing that. So I want to visit that park again when things are back to more normal, which hopefully will be soon. And Mike says, nice shots. I love the buildings from the 20s and 30s. I do too. I really like those. They always look well made and built to last. Great shot. I mean, that park has been closed like 30 years, give or take. I don't know exactly. I better not say anything, but it's been closed a while and they've been maintaining it. And I think with really good maintenance, and I'm not talking major, renovations. I'm talking about just maintaining the buildings as they were built. I think it'd go another 50 years. But buildings today, particularly everything from I'd say the 1950s and up, I feel like at least here in the United States. I mean, in Europe, you guys save everything, which is awesome. I love seeing all of the beautiful architecture you guys have out there in Europe and other places around the world. In the U.S., it's we turned into glass and steel from about the 1950s, and towards the 60s and 70s, everything became basically a business and economy of scale, where you build things to fit your needs at the time, and then you tear it down and build something else. Whoever else comes in and builds something they need to last X number of years until they sell it and somebody else buys it and tears that. It's just a constant. We were joking about it yesterday after we always go have lunch after the photo walks in Tyson's Corner. It's like you can't park your car overnight because there might be a building on top of it the next day. That's the funniest thing I ever heard because things change so fast uh, in some places. And some of the buildings are really nice, but I remember a beautiful glass building. It was all glass and steel. It had really interesting. I'll have to find a picture of it one day because I did get a couple pictures of it from my car while I was driving by it. So they're not great photos, they're just snapshots. But the architecture was really interesting. David might remember it. It's right past the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. They had this beautiful glass building that kind of arched out and up and is a really interesting building, architecturally speaking. They just tore that sucker down and put up some condos and apartments. I don't think in a lot of places around the world they would do that. And that's why I like Glen Echo Park. And I mentioned this to David yesterday is they repurposed the park because it could have been torn down just as easily as everything else is around here. But they repurposed the park. Uh, I don't know if it's now like a state park or something. Maybe it is. It's probably is a state park. I don't know the exact title or whatever I don't know the exact. I don't know the word for the exact thing I'm looking for. But they repurposed all of the buildings, and it's awesome. Like the Hall of Mirrors building is now like a dance studio, and some other building is now they're hosting art shows and things in. And it used to be an arcade, I think. So it was really interesting. So I definitely need to go back there again sometime and take my time exploring and use one lens. I really tried to use one lens yesterday. That's the other thing. I mentioned this on Thursday that I tried to force myself. I brought a fisheye, and that was the lens I was going to use for the entire photo walk. But one of the other photographers there, and there's a lot of Olympus shooters in our photo club, which is awesome, and some converts too. I'm trying to convert another one, but I said, "Oh, you want to try this fisheye? Because you don't walk into a place." He brought his 12 to 100 lens, but he was shooting with his 40 to 150, and I'm like, "This is architecture with where you and you don't have a lot of space between you and the building." I couldn't understand why you would shoot with a 40 to 150. So I said, here, try this fisheye. I didn't know he had his 12 to 100. So I gave him my fisheye and I said, I'm going to shoot with my 25 millimeter, which is, I hate that focal length. Uh, I've just, so but I brought it with me to force myself to learn to use and see using the 25 millimeter lens. And those were some of the shots that you saw on my Instagram. You'll be able to tell right away which is fisheye, which is the 25. And it really forced me to, and that's why a lot of the images that I took are very technical composition type things and not very interesting in terms of story or dynamics. You know, there's not a lot to see in the image, even though compositionally it hits a lot of points, but ultimately there's not a lot to see in the images that I took. So that's why that's why yesterday when I took that 25, that's why I think the images are coming out that way, because I was forcing myself to compose with a 25 millimeter lens, and it distracted me from actually trying to tell a story or make the image interesting. And the only interesting shot I think I got was the lady walking her dog between the two shadows out of all the pictures I took. That was the only one I really liked from the 25. I liked the fisheye lens for some of the architecture. I thought that was kind of neat. But anyhow, uh, old amusement parks always provide great shot opportunities, but mostly gone now. Yeah. And then Andrea says, you had the 8 millimeter fisheye on a Pen F. How was the combo handling? It was wonderful. I had no issues at all. In fact, where is it? I'll just show you. Okay, so here's the 25, right? Here's the fisheye. So it's not much different in terms of overall size, right? Because the 25 has this lens hood on it, so it just makes it, having trouble aligning things, makes it almost the same size. So the fisheye is definitely a little bit longer, uh, but overall it's about the same width, right? And it's definitely heavier because it's all metal and really well made. And then on the camera, you can see it's it's not bad at all. Here's an angle shot, quarter, three quarter, side view, uh, bottom up. See, it's not bad. And it feels, and of course I have a grip here, which just helps with everything. But yeah, but you can see there's plenty of space between my fingers and the lens. And this is an awesome lens. I don't think the Pen F has a fisheye correction built in, but for the kind of shots I was doing, I would, you can always do it in post processing. So yeah, it's perfect. And System Insurer says the curves in the buildings in 1930s are great. The fisheye ads, yes, it really they came out good. Like I said, I was using a monochrome profile number 2. And John Truman says, really good YouTube video on E6 vlogs last couple of days. Do you need full frame? I did see that, yes, this morning. As a matter of fact, when I was skimming through the thumbnails on YouTube, I did click on that one and watched it. And yeah, it was really good. And he's basically making the same arguments that we have been for years and years and years since Micro Four Thirds came out. A smaller, lighter system. It's adequate for most of us in terms of, we're shooting at base ISO most of the time anyway. If we need high ISO, yeah, maybe consider full frame. There was, there wasn't really anything new. It's just he was just telling a lot of us what we already know. But I think for people that are using Micro Four Thirds and not sure if, they're influenced by the full frame marketing, I think it's a great video to kind of bring things back to reality where you really don't need full frame to take a picture, a good picture, right? And it's all about, again, going back to composition, telling a story, the subject matter, all of those things that make photography great have nothing to do with the camera. So I did it, and he always does a good job. If I tried to make a video like that, I mean, I did kind of. I said I made a video called "I Don't Miss Full Frame," and I talked more about. I can't even remember. It was an okay video. It. I feel a little bad making it because it's kind of clickbaity, right? When you say I don't need full frame, or I don't want full frame, or you don't need full frame, all those kind of clickbaity kind of things. But that's because, and it's not the YouTuber's fault. We need to get that message out, right? It's important to tell people that, don't get more than you need, right? There's always a need for different formats, medium format, like he pointed out, full frame, even smaller sensors like your cell phone or your TG5. There's places for every kind of camera. But I feel like for me, Micro Four Thirds hits that perfect balance of image quality and it's a very mature system. You can't forget that. It's very, very mature. So you have a huge selection. You have a huge amount of um, information, like my channel, Robin, Jimmy, Peter, all of us, right? We all have, and Olympus has been cranking out plenty of videos recently and tutorials. So there's that after the sale type support that you get because it's a very mature system. So that's why Micro Four Thirds for me is just perfect. And I have 2 full frame cameras, at least 2. I probably got another one I've completely forgotten about, but I have a Nikon D750 and a Panasonic S5, and both are excellent cameras, but they never see the light of day because I don't want to carry those cameras around because they won't give me any better pictures than I can do with my Micro Four Thirds. Not significantly so that I would sacrifice all of the other benefits that Micro Four Thirds give you. So yeah, it was an excellent video. So definitely you guys check out E6 Vlogs and watch that video and just get his perspective on why he doesn't really use full frame. I think ultimately that was his message most of the time, right? Um, and Burhanuddin, I'm sorry, I'm messing that up. Burhanuddin says, hello, I wish that you make a video that shows step by step how to correct white balance using white paper for still photo and especially video. I'm trying to think. I do have a video for that. Um, and it wouldn't be any different between photo and videography, photography and videography. Let me pull it up. Where would be the best place to do that here? Uh, No, that's the worst place to do it. Hold on. Okay, it's episode number 135. So, episode 135, I will put a link in the comments or in the chat section here for you. That's it, episode 135. uh, we'll touch on custom white balancing and processing white balance in workspace. So I do touch on it a little bit there, but I don't have a video specifically for it, but I do cover it there. But let me make a note. I'm going to watch the white balance videos I have on doing one-touch white balance and custom white balance and see if I can do a better job. Maybe I'll do a live stream on white balance. I don't know. But let me add this to my note page. Okay. Annette Johansson or Johansson, you had a Q in your chat. I had a question in my chat. You know, I have this let me see if I can start using this because I have it. Why not? Oh, I missed a bunch of questions here. Let me back up before I get. Well, let me do Annette because I just said your name and you're probably watching now, right? I'll do this and then I have to back up. There was a few other questions. It says here you had a question in your chat 165 on the difference between Olympus, Ambient, Ambassador, and Visionary. In Europe, it's like if Visionary, they have the ability to work at the European level and not just nationally. Oh, okay. So you're just making a statement. Thank you. In Europe, it's like this. If the Visionary, they have the ability to work at European level and not just nationally. Okay. I still don't get the difference, though. But okay. But thank you, Annette, for that information there. Let me back up. I did see several questions here I missed. So I'm going to back up. And Annette says, I hope you feel better. Thank you. Thank you, Annette. I am feeling better. And John, no biggie. You know me, the first 15, 20 minutes is just me jibber-jabbering about nothing, really. Just waiting for people to come in. Okay, so that's where I left off. I keep forgetting to use the depth of field button. I never use it. I never use it. I don't. I just chimp it. I take a picture and look at it. And if the depth of field is what it needs to be, then good. If I need to check focus, I punch in on a chimp, on a test shot. It's just much better for me. And Jan says, I bought a flash and only used it once. Haven't used it in 2 years. I heated the white light. Oh, I hated the white light that it creates. I guess that those gels, I could make color similar to the sunlight. Yes, you can. And you can warm up your flash images just by using custom white balance too. And the other problem is probably you're using the flash on camera where the lighting is not very flattering, right? So you need to do off-camera flash to get those shadows. And if you don't like the white colors, coming out of it, just shoot in black and white with your flash to get you started anyway. Because really with flash, it's more important to learn lighting and things how to light things with flash than it is about the colors. Because colors, when you're shooting raw, you can pretty much fix those white balance issues and warm them up or cool them off, do whatever you want to do. Um, a great example is I did a live view. I did a live stream on Flash, and I did these sample images. So, like, here's one, right? And this is just straight on two flashes. I had one over my head and one straight on camera. Uh, Nothing special there, just typical flash shot. And I can see where this is not very pleasant, right? This is just a blah image. And then I convert to black and white, gets rid of all of the color distractions and problems I was having. And then I did some adjustments here. I did another adjustment here. I didn't like this shot. And then I did this one, which I kind of like this one. I was using a snoot and then made another adjustment. And I think that was the final. Yeah, this was this was my final shot, I think. I took, 3 or 4 images to kind of adjust things. And that's because I was using like a can cooler snoot and some things. But if you go to my live stream on Godoc's Flashes, I did bookmark and index everything, so you can kind of jump right to where I was taking these pictures and just see how I did it in real time. Because my studio is nothing special, right? It's just my room here. Okay. And Paul Buell says, how can I create a panorama photo out of pictures from my OMD EM1 Mark III in Workspace? The automatic panorama function does not work with JPEGs. Have you suggestions? Yeah, you're going to have to get a third-party panorama software. There are some free ones available online, but I can't recommend any in particular because I don't use them. But the best thing is, find a free third-party panorama stitching software and do it that way. Yeah, you can't do it in Workspace because the EM1s, I don't think any of the OMDs have. Well, I'm sorry, I take that back. I think the EM10s have it, but the EM1s don't have a panorama feature in it that Workspace can recognize and do the stitching for you. So you have to find a third-party solution. Unfortunately, I use Lightroom, but there are free solutions out there. So sorry, Paul, I don't have a solution for Workspace. I don't think it exists. And Seraphin says, was watching how you produce Kodachrome on the Pen F, and you can't produce that in other Olympus cameras unless you do it in post-processing. Correct? Yes, that is correct. And I believe I have batch processing files for the Kodachrome look that you can apply to any of the Olympus JPEGs and RAW in some cases. So if you go to my website, this is something I haven't promoted in a long time, but let me go to robtrek.com. Hoping my site is still up. Yeah. So let me pull this up. I need to update this site. So if you go under the Olympus tab here, Workspace Presets, I have some like Fujifilm presets, Cyberpunk. Here it is, Kodachrome. So this will work with the RAWs for so you download this file, and it will work with the Pen F, the EM1s, and the TG5, but it probably will not work with like the EM10. So if you want it to work with, like, say, the EM10, what you need to do is convert the raw image to a TIFF file And then once it's in a TIFF file format, then you can apply this preset. So here's a sample of just the raw image here on the left and the Kodachrome profile on the right. Just if you wanted to save some time. Or you can just watch the video. I give you all the settings for workspace in the video, so you can just do it that way. Okay. I'll just put a link to this in the chat section real quick. There's a link to this particular preset that I made. Like I said, there's a few others there. Okay, and that was... Let me try and catch up again. John Allen asking, what about the Artisan 7.5 f2.8? Yeah, $100. I mean, if you don't mind manually focusing, and it's not hard to do on a wide angle lens like that, that's an awesome deal. It'll be great for landscapes and architecture and even astrophotography. That's a great lens for $100. I mean, if you don't want to spend $600 or $700 on the Olympus Pro 8mm with autofocus and all that, or the all the Olympus lenses that are wide like that. The only other option is maybe the Olympus. Sorry, I thought I smelled something weird. Anyway, the Olympus 9 to 18mm is a really nice lens, but that's still $500-600, right? So yeah, definitely, I would definitely consider that. If I didn't already have like some lenses in that focal length, I would definitely consider that. I've not heard any bad things about the Artisan lenses. I've only heard good things. All things considered, when you balance the price with it, you can't really complain. And okay, I caught that. And I wish you may. Yeah, I got that one. I'm just scrolling through. I did that. Yeah, working out alone won't solve the problem. I've only had a chocolate shake. What is it? April 2020. The last time I had a chocolate shake was September 30th of 2019. So it's been almost 2 years. It's really rare I have a chocolate shake or any kind of sweets like that. I've been eating out about once a week lately, which is a little bit too much because I really pig out when I go out. But in between, it's like oatmeal and chicken. Oatmeal for breakfast and dinner, and chicken for lunch, chicken and rice. So I'm trying to curb my diet. It's hard, but I'm curbing my diet to where I can kind of not be hungry all the frickin' time. And then once my neck is 100%, I'm definitely going to start working out, building up my neck muscles and my core, trying to trim some of this fat. I need to be about 20 pounds lighter. I should be a $150. I'm like 170 right now, which is way, way too much. I need to be about 150, unless I want to start building up a bulk of muscle, then 170 is fine. But I'm not, I'm not, I'm not the most muscular guy, right? So all of it's just fat. It's just terrible. But that shake was good. We were joking about that, right, David? The shakes and the straws and stuff. That was a good time. It's always fun to sit down after a photo walk and hang out. Let's see. And let's see. Bernadette says, I tried to do white balance correction. I think that I'm doing incorrectly, but for video, it appears that white balance correction I do in photo or over video, I am more confused on how to do calibration when in video mode. Yeah, okay, so you have to do the white balance calibration in a photo mode. So you create a custom white balance. And then when you go into your movie mode, you use that same custom white balance. So let's say you're in a photo mode and you choose custom white balance. Um, let me see if I can. I need a camera with a battery in it. I got nothing. Nope. Okay. And I need a memory card. Really? I mean, you may already be familiar with this process, but I'm going to do it for the benefit of everyone here. Let me make some adjustments here. Maybe I can do it with just exposure comp. Okay, so it's a little dark, but so what am I in? I'm in aperture priority, and I need to do one touch white balance. So what button do I have assigned to that? Let's just assign function 1. There it is. Okay, so button function 1, which is this one. Oh, it's so dark you can't see anything. Hold on. Me is okay. So this function button 1 is now the white balance, right button. So what I'll do is I'll just get a white piece of paper, for example, and then hit function button 1. Let me do it this way. This is the right way to do it, so you guys can see. I need to dim the display, and I need to turn off. We're going full on tutorial mode here, aren't we? All right, we're almost there. I'll just increase the shutter speed. Get out of the glare. Turn off the... There we go. And focus. All right, so now I have function button 1 assigned to custom white balance. So I push it. I guess I have to hold it because when I let go, it stops. So I push and hold it. And I take a picture of the white. white piece of paper, and then I can assign it to custom 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I click OK to number 1, and then I need to go into movie mode, like so. And then in movie mode, I select, let's see, I go to white balance, and I select custom number 1. It's already selected. So I just select custom 1. So now the white balance for movie mode is set to what I did in the photo mode. Hopefully that answers your question. If that doesn't answer your question, just let me know. But I think that's what you were asking me. But you can't set custom white balance in movie mode. It just doesn't work, because when you go into movie mode on your camera on the mode dial, it reassigns all the buttons. So you have to do it in photo mode first, which is kind of awkward, I know, but that's how it works. And I guess if I read the rest of your comment here, it says here, I am an underwater photographer in sunny and warm Libya. I guess you could do the same thing underwater if you're using an underwater housing. That's a little beyond my experience, but I think procedurally it would be exactly the same whether you're underwater or above ground, surface, right? If you're surface or underwater, that procedure should be the same. But I can't say 100% because I've never done underwater with any of my cameras. And System Natura says, for buildings, I would use my 12 to 35 Pana lens. Yeah, excellent lens. There's a deal on the Ollie 7 to 12, well, 7 to 14, I'm sure. Thinking about buying. Comments. I would wait for the 8 to 25 f4 and see, unless you really need f2.8 for some reason. I'm waiting for the f4. I need to paint my wall or put tiles up or something instead of having to switch this green screen on and off all the time. I mean, I like being able to be in a spaceship sometimes or whatever, but when I'm doing Q&A and I need to answer somebody's question, it's a pain when the green screen is on. You can't see any of the green icons on the back of the screen. But yeah, to answer your question, uh, I would. I'm waiting for the 8 to 25, so you get a much wider range. It'll probably be a smaller, lighter lens at f4, and may cost about the same or maybe a little less because it's f4, and hopefully it'll still be weather sealed. So I'd say unless you absolutely need f2.8 for video or for whatever reason, certainly not for depth of field, because those lenses don't have any depth of field because they're so wide. I would wait for the 8 to 25. You know, I'm so tempted to get the 9 to 18 millimeter uh, because that, by all accounts, is an excellent lens. Even though it's very slow, right? It's good enough for my professional work or anything that I do, because it's f4, I think, and higher, or f5.6. It's not a fast lens, but it's very small, compact, lightweight. It's like 100 grams. And I like that lens versus the 7 to 14, which is a frickin' monster lens. It's like a 12 to 40 Pro, and I would never take it out or use it professionally even. I have a 7 to 14 f4 from Panasonic, that aside from its purple flaring issues, it's the perfect lens. It's about 300 grams. It's f4. I shoot at f5.6 anyway, and it's a great lens. So aside from the purple flaring, so I don't recommend it for general photography, but that's why I'm anxious to get the 8-25 from Olympus, the 8-25 Pro f4. And the f1.8 Michael White is the 8mm f1.8. Yeah, it's a fun lens. You can get some creative shots with it. Yep. So Michael agrees with me. And Jan makes a good point. Is one benefit that we don't talk much about is a close focusing ability. I don't know why, but in M43 our lenses have great close focusing compared to other systems. I love this. Yes, the Pro lenses focus closer than the non-Pro versions, right? And I found the Olympuses generally focus closer than the Panasonic versions. So if you want close focusing, the 12-50 from Olympus, it's an older discontinued lens, is excellent. Close focusing. The 60 macros, obviously the 30 macro, the 60 macro are very good at close focusing, but the Pro lenses like the 12-40 or even the premiums, the 12mm f2, is it? All have great close focusing ability. Even this, I'm using this 14-150 lens to, let me see. This is a 14-150 that I just used to focus right here, just this far. This is like, about 10 or 12 inches away. And I can close focus on this, right? So it's pretty slick, I think. Turn off this green screen. There's my green screen behind me. But how do you guys like this view? Somebody said I should have this view on time to time during the stream, like switch it up every now and then. I got mixed feelings about it because it's just a mess, this setup, right? But now you guys can see what I'm working with, right? Oh, look, see my bed hair and my gut. Yeah, I don't like this angle at all. If I scoot up, you guys won't see my big fat belly. Us YouTubers that go online are very vain, right? Or most of us are. Some are not. Some just let it all hang out. But I'm a little bit vain that way. I like to at least be presentable when I come online and not let my whatever distract you. Okay, so very good point, Jan. And greetings from Ireland, Pat Coffee. Good to see you again, Pat. Oh, you're over here now. And that was the link I posted. And Annette says of Olympus, and they just works in their own country. Okay, Olympus ambassadors only work in their own country, and I think visionaries go nationally. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Annette. Now that's clear. So that's what Annette was saying when we were talking about that about 10 minutes ago. And Andreas likes the Kodachrome look. Paul Buell says, "Thank you for your answer. You should deserve a statue in the Garden of Olympus." You're funny. I forget already what question I answered for you, but Michael White's asking, did you see Peter's video on rumor that OMDS might join the L mount? Yeah, I did watch that. I watched it yesterday. I'm kind of with Peter on that. I don't think Olympus will do it. And if they do, uh, fine, you know. Um, they probably like the idea. Let's say they're inclined to do it. I think what they want to do, if they're inclined to do it, it's going to be this camera here, the Panasonic S5 with phase detect, basically, right? So this is what, because look, here's the Panasonic S5, right? And then here is the EM1 Mark II. Which one is this? The EM5. Here's my crap. I'm always dropping crap. Now you guys can see it. Here's the EM. Let me get my fingers out of the way. Here's the EM1 Mark III. Here's the Panasonic S5. Now I have the 17 millimeter prime on here, but just look at the bodies, right? This is still a monster of a camera, and this is one of the most compact full frame cameras you can get, right? I mean, it's hard to tell looking online because especially from the back, they look pretty much the same. But I can tell you, I did do a side-by-side comparison of these cameras in one of my videos. So recently, so search for Panasonic S5 on my channel. I think it's something about ergonomics, and you'll see a much closer view that you can get a good feel for how much bigger this camera is, and then about all the ergonomics. So I think if OMDS were inclined to do full frame, it's going to be an S5 with contrast detect or phase detect, right? And then all of the other features and advances that let me rephrase that. All of the unique features to Olympus that you won't find on the S5. Like we talked about art bracketing, maybe, right? Things like that. I think this has live composite now. So that's not unique to Olympus anymore. And this also has high res shot, but it doesn't have handheld high res shot. It doesn't have live ND, right? So maybe we'll get an Olympus version full frame with live ND, handheld high res, art bracketing, and all the other unique Olympus features, plus some new stuff with phase detect full frame and an awesome IBIS system, right? Maybe that's the wow camera. I would be a little surprised, honestly, if they did that, but time will tell. We'll see, right? And Bob Tishmar sent me a email with a link to a rumor that Olympus has registered a new camera uh, with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Who knows what that is? Maybe a Pen F2, right? But we'll see. But yeah, I like that. I did like that video that Peter made and agree with everything he said there, right? Uh, I just don't. I'm kind of with him though. I can't imagine Olympus would go full frame. OMDS, I should say. And if they did, that would be my speculation on that. Um, wow, I should make like a 5-minute video of my speculation on full frame and talk about like what I just talked about, but in a more organized, detailed fashion, and not just spur of the moment type thinking. Uh, just for fun. But I've done a couple of speculation videos. I have hundreds of videos, right? I've done a couple that were speculative type videos, and they did well in terms of view count, but in terms of content, they sucked. None of my predictions were right. So after I saw that, I just gave up. I said, I am not going to do any more predictions. It's stupid, you know. Time will tell. Whatever comes out, comes out. There's nothing I can do about it, right? So why even bother to speculate? It's fun to watch sometimes speculation videos, but I just feel like I was doing a disservice to myself and others by speculating on stuff that just I'm wrong all the frickin' time. Anyway, Let me go back to my normal view. Uh, uh, but yes, thank you for reminding me. I did want to talk about that video a little bit. So there it is. Uh, and I lost my place on the chat. Oh, Plato's late? I gotta remember what time I left off. And John posted, if you go to my forum, he posted a link to that article about phones. So you can go to my forum and find that. And there were some new posts on there that I saw that I need to address. I'll try and get to them today, if not tomorrow. There were some questions and some other posts I want to, leave some comments on. I just didn't get a chance this morning. And I can remember, well, I only remember it because when I was having the shake yesterday, I remember the last time I had a shake because I did a vlog on it. And all I did was look up when I made that vlog, which was September 30th. And that's an awesome vlog. It's like my favorite vlog. I've done a lot of vlogging before the pandemic. And where's where did my here? I love this. I love this vlog. It didn't get many views, but uh these bar 5. How come it's not popping up? Well, I'm on the no, I'm in my video. I want to find 50s diner. I don't know why it's not coming up. Diner. I Nobody cared. Nobody watched it when I published it. I don't know why I'm looking so hard for it. Only because I really liked it. Uh, no, drive. Here it is. I'm going to put a link to it. It's like I have videos that I personally like that I made that I can watch over and over again. Yeah, I know I'm very narcissistic, but uh, this video here I really liked. And let me let's see the thumbnail itself. You can see the thumbnail. Well, you can't see the thumbnail. The thumbnail over here, you see I'm drinking a shake. September 30, 2019 is the date. And somewhere down here, this was a great vlog. I really like this one. Let me get past the... Oh, the ads. The ads. That's the only way I make a few pennies. I spent more on the milkshake yesterday than the few pennies I made off this video. See, there it is. So yeah, there's me drinking a milkshake. And then let's see my current Instagram. You know, there's some cell phone distortion. I use my Samsung, the front camera. I'm all lopsided. Maybe that's how I really look. But there's me with a Pen F image. I think I was using the 17 millimeter, and then here's the distorted cell phone image. But anyway, that's how I remember. Okay, and bear with. I'm sorry. It looks like the screen. I'm really good at this, right? Like staying still. I could be one of those human statues. Because I bet you guys thought the video just froze, right? But I'm really good at standing still. I got good at it because I did so much testing with our cameras. I had to learn how to kind of stand still and and uh, and take pictures for you guys when I used to do my tutorials a lot. Uh, Plato's here. Yeah, we've been there. What time is? Oh man, I'm a little bit behind on the chat. So I checked the chat here. This was 11:01 a.m. It's 11:27 now. There's John's chat. And John Yutze, John DeMorgan. And DeMorgan says the UV filters can help with the Panasonic lenses on Olympus. It will, but you know, this particular lens, the 7-14, I'd have to get a special filter because it's a bulb. There's no filter thread. So I'd have to buy one of those special filters on this lens. So but that's a good point. With lenses that you can put a filter thread on, I guess there are filters that will help mitigate some of the purple flaring, but it's not really an option on a fisheye or a bulbous type lens, I should say. And Michael says, you like the tech setup angle, but I have to focus. Is it out of focus? Let me see. It is slightly out. And there's a little square. Let me fix that real quick. Let's see. Ouch, ouch. I'm not going to fix it. It's too late. But is it on autofocus or not? Yeah, it is. It's probably focusing on this camera instead of me. I turned off face detect. Let me see if I can. It's hard to see from this. Let me turn off the green screen again. Dang it. There. So if I do face detect on and adjust this like that, is it autofocusing? Let me see. Oh, I've got to put on continuous. Okay, let's try it now. Yeah, there we go. Fast. Olympus cameras rock, man. Oh, now I got all this gear. I got to clear my desk again. All this gear sitting around is just creating clutter. Ooh, bunch of lens caps there. Awesome. Well, don't need these. This lens can go here. And voila. Okay. Just for you, Mike. Just for a few minutes anyway. We'll work with this. Oh, the white box. Hold on. Oh, let me get behind the camera and fix this. I have to disconnect it and go in the menu. So I'm in movie mode. HDMI output needs to be record mode. Is that working now? No, it's blank. Hold on. Oh, I see the problem. I need to be in just aperture priority mode. Let's see. There we go. We'll bring this over a little bit. And everything looks good. All right. I didn't set up that too well, but there we go. That should be focused. Oh, it's a little bit overexposed. Hold on. Ouch. There we go. Ah, good enough for streaming, right? And Randy's asleep. Rick is here. Hey, Rick. How you doing, Rick? Good to see you. Oh, Randy, you posted a shot of your sun. Okay. Randy bought one of those solar filters so you can take pictures of the sun. And I remember the last time I tried it, I keep looking at the wrong camera. Last time I tried, all I got was a yellow dot. So let's see what Randy did. I'm curious. Let's look now. We can all look together. Where's my why is let's go to Flickr. Hold on. I need to log in first. Oh, it hides the password, so I didn't have to do that. And then I think you go under Randall on the thing here. Or you might just be in my feed. Oh, there it is. All right, so here's Randy on. So let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot better than I got. I just got a yellow dot. I didn't see all the sunspots and everything in here. That's pretty cool. Let's see what you did. EM1X with a 300 f4 Pro and a 2X teleconverter. ISO 100, 600 millimeters. Wow. So 1200 millimeter equivalent. It looks like an orange. That's true. It does look like an orange. Hopefully you didn't spend too much on that filter. I don't know. I don't know if if it's like $100 or less, then yeah, I would buy it maybe just to get shots like this and experiment and get some more interesting things. But if it's like a $200-300 filter, I'd be like, I don't know if it's worth it. This is a good moonshot you did here too. Not bad. Some good detail. It's a little bit contrasty, but not bad. Uh, I did one straight out of camera recently. Let's see if it's in here. 2021. Oh, this is a cool shot. This is a live composite. You guys can't see nothing here. Hold on. This is this is a live comp where I left the shutter open for a couple of minutes. I think this is a 3 or 4 minute exposure. It's a little bit windy, so all the flowers on the tree just sort of um, moved around in the frame, so it's kind of cool. And let me go back to the home page because I don't know if everybody saw that. Yeah, you guys did see the sun shot. Okay, good. Uh, and Jen says, Rob, what would you think about checking out on these live streams some of our photos from our IG accounts? Look, or whatever people use and chat a bit about them. Yeah, I mean, kind of that should be. I mean, I do that a tiny bit, but yeah, only time to time if people bring up that they did something kind of neat, right? Like Randy, I know we've been talking about that solar filter from stream to stream, but that's not a bad idea. I'll give that some thought. Maybe maybe structure it a little bit because I did spend like 10 or 15 minutes talking about my own photos. Whoop-de-doo, right? Who cares about that? It'd be more interesting to see your photos and talk about them, right? So, but that's more like a photo critiquing thing, which maybe I'll do that on Tuesdays. Tuesdays I think I'm going to limit to just the photo editing and critiquing, but I could dedicate part of that to just reviewing photos, right? I don't know. Just email me, rob@robtrek.com. Just email me what your thoughts are on that, what format you think would work. Um, I'd be happy to do it though. Oh, what happened to Magrat? I just saw a comment. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. He's doing okay today. That's good, Rick. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. I was, yeah, I got your email about Magrat. I didn't know if something else has happened since I got your email, but thankfully he's doing okay today, or she's doing okay today. Uh, Plato says Olympus is too late for full frame market anyway. It's already crowded. Um, it is crowded. I don't know how the camera market works. Well, who does really, right? Um, but I always think about two instances when it came to um, career choices, right? And these were interviews by people that were second guessing what career they wanted to do. One wanted to be a lawyer, but was second guessing it because there were so many lawyers here in the US. And somebody he or she respected and admired gave him really good advice. And they told him, yes, there's a lot of lawyers, but there aren't enough good lawyers. And that's what motivated him to go on to become a very good lawyer. And then another instant was a radio talk show guy that said pretty much the same thing. And that's why I started my channel, was from this particular phrase that I remember. Was the one radio DJ said, I want to do my own talk radio show, but there's so many people that talk about this topic. I think it was politics, but there's so many people that talk about it. And the other DJ, who's very well respected, said, that's true. There's a lot of voices out there, but they have not heard your voice and your opinion, because your voice and your opinion matters. And if you start your own talk radio on this topic, you may or may not be successful, but don't not do it because you think there's already too many out there. So when I think about Olympus cameras and full frame, there's a lot of full frame cameras out there, and a lot of great ones. The S5, the Sony A1, whatever. There's a lot of great cameras, right? The Z6, the Z7s. And it's very crowded, but what if Olympus could make one that was the best one and do a good job in marketing, right? Because think about it. Nikon, Sony, Canon, they're not touching the Micro Four Thirds market. Is that because they think there's no market for Micro Four Thirds, or is it because they don't think they can compete with Olympus, right? I don't know. Their marketing would lead you to believe that Micro Four Thirds is inferior to full frame, but in reality, is that just hype to sell full frame because they can't compete with Micro Four Thirds? They would just flat out fail if they tried to compete with Olympus, Panasonic, right? So you have to look at it that way. And the same thing is, what if Olympus or OMDS decided to go into the full frame market? Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but if they're the best, they'll do well. If they join the L-Mount Alliance, because Panasonic, for whatever reason, gets a lot of flack for having a contrast-only system, which is, I think, grossly unfair, because I found the autofocus perfectly fine, whether it's continuous autofocus or single point autofocus for photography, perfectly fine. And even in video, if you're going to use autofocus, it's reliable enough. No professional videographer relies on autofocus for critical scenes. None of them. So it doesn't matter that it has contrast only detect, even for video. But that anyway. So when somebody says something is too crowded or there's too much competition, I always put that in the context of those two other conversations that I remember, or things that I read about people that became very successful but were initially very intimidated to get into that field or business because there was already a lot of competition. And I say, don't let that deter you. If you can do a good job, and this is true for everything in life, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things everywhere, everybody doing everything. Think about how many books are on the shelves, right? But if you write a good book, you'll be a number one seller. If you make a painting and you do a great painting, whatever it is in life that you want to achieve, don't let the fact that there's already a lot of competition, a lot of people out there better than you, deter you from doing what you want to do. And like I said, that translates to me in terms of marketing. Olympus can make the best. But enough of that rant. Those are my thoughts on that. Okay, let me go back to see. I'm so behind on the chat section. Um, time is it? Oh, it's 11:45, so I'm about 20 minutes behind. Uh, what do you think about checking live stream? Yes. So Jan, yeah. I'm gonna add this comment to my thing here. How do I highlight this without I'm gonna add this to my notes. I think that's a great idea, Jan, about okay. So let's see. That was that. Thumb rest on the M5 kept coming unplugged. I finally got tired of gluing it back. Now I left it off the camera grip. So the M5 Mark III or EM5 Mark II kept coming out unglued. I used Sugru. It came off on my Pen F, Errol. This thing has not come off yet. Oh, you can't see crap here. I use Sugru. See? Probably get nice and close. Get the light to hit it just right. Sugru, Sugru. Because the thumb grip it came off and I lost it on my Pen F. So I just put Sugru. And I made it a little bigger and thicker than the original. So it's much better now. And let's see. Full frame cameras are good for stills, but not good for video due to poor IBIS. Yes. That's definitely a consideration if you need image stabilization. You know, Micro Four Thirds is the best. And Roberto Carlos Garcia says that is good video. I like it too. Must be in reference to my vlog that I was talking about. And Robert Welsh says that watching from UK, my EM10 Mark II is playing up. I can't have EVF set to auto. It only switches on if I move the LCD screen out from the normal position. Ribbon cable issue. I can't have the EVF set to auto. The other problem it could be, and this happened to mine. Okay, I have it mounted now, so I can't show you. The other problem it can be is that the eye sensor is bad. So that, you know, the eye sensor might be bad. So when you put your finger in front of it, if nothing happens over the, you know, like you're putting your finger over the eye sensor and it doesn't switch back and forth when you do that and you have it in the right mode, because there's a couple of different EVF modes. It might be just the eye sensor went bad. You know, probably not the ribbon. It's more likely the eye sensor, because that's what happened to mine. So I just manually switched between EVF and live view using the live view button on the camera. But that might be the issue. Give that some thought. Chan is asking, are we going to join the Element Alliance? So I kind of talked about that. Who knows? You know, we'll see. I doubt it, but anything's possible now, right? And then System Mature says, forgot to mention the chat with Marco concerning computer was great. Thank you. Sorry I missed that. Had a question and comments. Maybe next time. Yeah. Or just go to Marco's channel, Hot Hardware. They live stream every Wednesday, like around 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can hit them up there or comment on one of the videos and they'll see it, I'm sure. And Arthur, hey Arthur, how are you? Good to see you. Arthur McPhee is here, long time viewer. And been a long time since Dave was last here. Yeah, there's a lot of Daves. I don't know which one you're referring to. Jeff Painter, good to see you. Arthur, John Allen, Rick Bear. I have to remember to use face detect on the face of the watch. Stephen Long has a question. Would I notice a difference in the picture quality between the EM1 Mark III, my current camera, and the EM1 Mark III? No, not really. Not a significant difference that I would spend another $1,000, $1,500. Now, if there's a specific feature that you want on the EM1 Mark III that you don't have on your EM10 Mark III, and that feature's worth it to you, then yeah. But as far as sheer image quality goes, yeah, I wouldn't spend the money. The significant improvements on the M1 Mark III are the autofocus, handheld high res, live ND, mic jack, 4K, better 4K video, uh, full on weather sealing. I mean, there's a lot of things that, dual card slots. There's a lot of things the M1 Mark III brings to the table, right? But image quality, only marginally so. Maybe a little better. You'll Ellie's here. Hi, baby. Are you okay? Yeah? All right. Um, I wonder how much you can see if I do this. Yeah, there she is. Okay. So yeah, definitely don't buy an EM1 Mark III because you think because the image quality is better than the M10 Mark III. It's really not that much difference. The 16 to 20 megapixels is not a big deal. The ISO performance, not a big deal. I mean, it's very subtle. It's very subtle, the differences. You buy the M1 Mark III for the other features that it offers over the EM10, but not image quality. And Robert Welsh says, I'm convinced that there is an issue with the ribbon cable on my EM10. EVF not working on auto. Worth repairing. So if it's not the eye sensor and it's the ribbon cable, and this is the EM10 Mark II, it's not worth repairing. It's cheaper just to buy another one and use that as a backup. Honestly, at this point, buy another second-hand one for like $200 here in the U.S. Probably less than 200 pounds if you're talking about that currency. I'm not that familiar with that currency, but 200 pounds for another one, it's going to cost you that much to fix it. I would imagine. That would be my guess. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to show that. Let's see. And great post on ESOF. Yes, we talked about that Valdez E6 Vlogs earlier in the stream. E6 Vlogs has a video out. I guess it came out yesterday or today about full frame versus not full frame versus micro four thirds, but just the hype around full frame right now is it's just marketing. And Randy says you were on a tripod to do that sun shot. Yeah, obviously so. The filter was $95. So the solar filter was $95. That's okay. So yeah, that's not bad. I would do it. I would consider it if I was interested in that. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out my astrophotography, to be honest. Still working on that. And let's see, that was a comment by System Natura. Looks like tree. I'm trying to really get caught up here. I was thinking of investing. Giuseppe's asking on a PL8 8 to 18 f2 to 4. Can you the PL8 to 18? Oh, the Panasonic Leica without any special filter. I can look. This is a great resource if you guys aren't aware of it already. I've shared it a few times on my stream. Let me see. It's in my photo. Where is it? This one. Let me give you this link. I'm going to put this in the chat section. This is a great resource. So the Panasonic 8-18, so it's going to be a wide zoom, this one. So this lens, right? So what you have to look at is right here. It'll tell you filter size. So if I zoom in so you can see it. So yeah, it takes a 67 millimeter filter. If it doesn't have a filter size listed there, then yeah, you'd have to get a special type filter for it. But this one looks like it doesn't need any special filter. So you should be good to go. And I reference this site all the time for about lenses. Any kind of detail like close focusing distance, filter ring size, weight, all that stuff. It's a great resource. And okay, also you need to get fully familiar with the lens to get most. Oh, so that's that. And then Steven says, I was thinking about investing in the Leica 15 millimeter lens. It's a great lens. It was definitely on my short list between the 15 millimeter Leica and the 17 millimeter Olympus. Ultimately, I decided to go Olympus, although I think optically the 15 millimeter is superior to the Olympus. Um, so if I had to do it over again, I might get the 15. But I got the Olympus for like 250 bucks. And the Leica, I would have had to pay about 500 if I recall correctly. So that was the other deciding factor to go with the 17-1.8 from Olympus versus the 15 from Panasonic. But money no object, if I had to do it over again, I'd go with the 15 personally. There's no reason not to get that lens except for the price, right? At the time when I was shopping it, the Leica was twice as much. um, and then System Nature says the other companies could not compete with Olympus OMDs and Panalika. No point in them trying. Likewise, the OMDs are unlikely to compete in the full frame. Yeah, and that's a valid point, right? So this was my rant about 10 minutes ago. Maybe there's no point, but like I said, they may make the best one ever and take over, right? Who knows? I mean, that said, you can look at other examples in history, like Samsung made probably the best APS-C camera at the time ever made, and they pulled out. Um, Sony came into the full frame market and competing against DSLRs, they came in with these mirrorless full frames when nobody else was doing it, if I recall correctly, and stuck with it. They could have pulled out, but they stuck with it. And now they're getting all the hype online. I don't know where they stand in terms of sales, but they're they're a juggernaut, right? In terms of the size of their company and stuff. So, but that's a valid point. And John Follow says, I wonder if Olympus could produce a camera with a square sensor using the existing lens mount. That would be a small 6x. Oh, that's interesting. uh, so a square sensor. Yeah, I mean, they could do it. Uh, I don't know why they would do it. I don't think they would. I don't know why they would do it, but I could see you squeezing in a few more pixels. Uh, but then you would sacrifice on the video side because Olympus says they want to get, or OMDS says they want to get into video or start making more video centric cameras, and a 6x6 sensor doesn't lend itself to that, so I doubt it. Okay, just a snap judgment there. And John Matthews has a comment here. Says the M43 is mainly about the size of the system with advanced features. Full frame systems only want to talk about the sensor size and the light. I do think there should be more effort to make M43 smaller. Really, make it smaller than it already is. It's already pretty compact. The Panasonic side, you know, they got the GM5. They got those really tiny M43s. And the M5 Mark III, I'm not sure how much effort can go into it. I think they've kind of reached their limit. But Ellie says time for a walk. And then Rick, I think, is adding to that. Interesting question, but we have to remember that Olympus OM systems aren't chip manufacturers. They need to be off-the-shelf chip or it's big dollars. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to buy something off the shelf, meaning, you know, somebody else is going to manufacture it. That said, I don't know if you guys know this, but when I was looking into JIP, I think they own Hitachi, which has their own chip manufacturing facilities. I don't know. What do you guys think? Uh, I mean, I didn't do hardcore due diligence when the buyout was announced, but I did see that they own Hitachi, and I know Hitachi has or sells chip making uh, equipment, and they have facilities. But anyhow, you know, these investment companies, they always try to look for synergy between the other companies that they already own in their portfolio, right? So they own Hitachi, they own Bio, now they own Olympus, they own some clothing stores. Uh, so the only synergy I could see is maybe you might start to see, you know, Olympus Zuiko lenses and the Sony laptops for their webcams, or maybe you'll start to see, um, I don't know, you know, that's the only thing that came to mind. And they're somewhat trying to compete with making f11 lenses to be small and light, or of course they. So yeah, there's some f11 lenses that are small and light. Of course, they end up with higher ISOs, so it's almost as good as M43. Yeah, it's all about balance, right? You want a smaller lens, but you have a higher aperture number, and you end up using higher ISOs. But then on a Micro Four Thirds, you can use lower ISOs because you can have. Now we're talking about size weight equivalence, right? And that's where I really enjoy Micro Four Thirds is I can get equivalent size and weight. I can get equivalent focal length and aperture and depth of field in a much smaller package. Uh, and more light. All you know, I might have got some things backwards, but you guys know we've been through this argument a billion times. Why Micro Four Thirds shooters choose Micro Four Thirds? You know, it's the reasons have not changed. Why we shoot with Micro Four Thirds. Randy thinks it would be neat for OMDS to try medium format, maybe. That would be a wow factor, though, right? To compete with Fuji's medium formats. Can you imagine? And uh, System Natura says, I have this 15 millimeter Pena lens, amazing results, particularly for landscape. One of Volcanoes, how nice with the G9. Yeah, okay, so there's some more validation. Everything I've seen and heard about the 15 millimeter lens is awesome. David Thorpe has a video on it, and I'm sure others do. I think Matty Salanto has a video on it. And yeah, it looks to be an amazing lens, very contrasty, interesting focal length, a little wider than the 17. And I'm getting caught up. DeMorgan says Canon made the 600 and 800 f11 to try to compete. I guess, right? I don't know what their thinking was when they came out with f11 lenses. Are they crazy? Why? Because they can? I don't. And John says, I thought Canon made their own sensors, but the sensor in my Canon is made by Sony. Guess Canon doesn't make 1-inch sensors. Oh, that's true. Yeah, the 1-inch sensors, I think you're right. And Randy says, my new tripod for Astro is coming today. It will be much easier to level. I have not bought a tripod in eons. I'm using one of my old video tripods for my Astro. And then when I go see Ben, he might say that's a mistake. But I'm, I just, I just don't have unlimited budget. I'm really tight right now. I mean, I haven't had a photo job in 2 months, almost 2 months. It's been 7 weeks. So, man, it's been lean. I have to watch my spending. Uh, and we need newer GM5s and more yeah, the pancake lenses, I agree. Now, if you want to make Micro Four Thirds smaller overall as a system, yeah, more pancakes. I like the 20 millimeters, the 14 millimeter pancakes from Panasonic. I like the 15 millimeter, which is kind of a pancake. Uh, More lenses like that, man. Olympus doesn't do that. They had a couple that sucked, right? The 17, but um, Panasonic can make excellent pancake lenses. Sharp, fast, pancake. So they have a few, but more like that would be freaking awesome. Yeah, and a GM5 or something like that. That would be awesome. So if we want to go in that direction, I'm all for it. I would definitely get one. And Walter says, Hey Walter, how are you? Walter says, I'm using a Gitso carbon fiber I bought way more than a decade ago, maybe 15 years. No need to upgrade, really. Yeah, I've seen that tripod many times, man. That looks like one of those rail guns if you hold it this way. That's a heck of a tripod. And Randy says, my old tripods were just hard to level for Astro. It was only $100, so we'll see. Man, with astrophotography, if you're going to be using those 300 millimeter lenses, man, that thing needs to be solid stable. I can tell you, I think that's more of a problem using my video tripod than using. Uh, I have a Manfrotto Pro here too that I got from David Crooks, but I don't have a tripod head for it. That would be astrophotography friendly. I'd have to buy one for about $60. So I might do that before I go up there. I think I can spare $60, even though that's a little bit tight, but we'll see. Uh, and Rick says a square sensor would be great. Could have various aspect ratios available within the image circle, both on landscape, portrait, without having to rotate the camera. Oh my God, I didn't even think of that, but you're right. Just imagine you never have to rotate the camera because you're shooting with a square sensor anyway. That's an interesting. I just don't know how that would go over, you know? It'd be a very niche camera, and it definitely would be a little bit weak on video, but not necessarily. Interesting though. And I think that's a really interesting idea though. Interesting. That would be an interesting conversation if they ever come out with that. I agree. So I thought about the video tripod, but yeah, way too much dollars. I know. But I think size is a big deal with tripods and astrophotography, man. It ain't no joke trying to stabilize for astro and a tracker. I'm having a hard time. That's why I got to go see Ben. I'm having a hard time on my own getting the images to be stable. Uh, let's see if I have any here. Those are the black frames. That's the moon. Um, this is this is one of my astro images that I was trying to get. Ugh. I tried stacking these and all kinds of things. And the Starry Sky AF didn't work for me because the stars are so dim where I live, because I'm like in a Bortle 8 area. I couldn't get the Starry Sky AF to work. Um, but this is with image stabilization on, which is going to blur the image a little bit. But when I turn image stabilization off, oh my God. Uh, let me tell you, the I the stars were there was all kinds of motion blur. It was terrible with the image stabilization off. But anyway, live and learn, right? When I get better at it, I will share with you what I learn. In the meantime, you can go watch Ben Chappelle's channel. The narrowband channel is what he calls it. I wonder if he's got to 1,000 subscribers yet. Um, so I'm really trying to help his channel grow because he really deserves a lot more subscribers. Yes. He's just over 1,000 now. Awesome. Congratulations, Ben. 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to have to send him a note. That's awesome. Okay. Let me get back to the chat section real quick. And then I probably should wrap it up. Oh, thank you, System Mature. Just got me some call. I really appreciate that. I tell you, man. The only income I have right now is coming in off these streams and YouTube videos, which are just pennies, relatively speaking. Uh, which which I love doing these things, you know. I love streaming. I love making the videos. I want to make some more videos this week. I'm going to do one on bracketing, someone asked me about, and then also someone asked me about doing some videos on Olympus Workspace. So I'm definitely going to make some more videos this week, kind of on the software side and the camera side. And Morgan says, I have a big telescope tripod. Got that I cannot use now, even have an off-axis scope with it. Canon cannot use it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But I shoot all of the, I can't read that. Messier and Herschel's, whatever that is. And then Randy has some history here. I can't pronounce that name either, but they came up with the square format years ago so they don't have to rotate the camera. That's perfect. Paul Williams says more about Olympus workspace. Yeah. Oh, it's on my other computer, but I can pull it up on my Facebook. Let me show you what I was doing for someone. Uh, what they were asking for was like they found these presets. Um, they emailed me these messages. Let me just pull up the images. I don't want to share their name. Oops. And this one. I'm going to just pull up the images. All right, so here, this is a preset. I don't know what preset it's called, but this is the before picture. This is the after picture. And they're asking me, how can I do this in Olympus Workspace, right? So I said, okay, I'll try and make a video on it. And then I think this is another example they gave. This is a before and after preset in Lightroom that somebody's selling. So again, here's one, and then here's the other one. All right, so this was my attempt, right? So this is what I made. So what I did was is I took the original image, I cropped this part out on the left, and then put this into Workspace, and then I tried to make the uh, a similar image in Olympus Workspace. And then here's the other one. I did this in Olympus Workspace, and if you look at the original, it's really close. Here's the original, and here is the Olympus Workspace. So I'm going to try and do a video on how I did this, because that involves a lot of that involves a lot of tweaking in the color wheel and things like that. And I have not heard from Dave Nelson lately, Plato. That's a good question. Where is Dave? Maybe he just got bored of my live streams. uh, Marcia says, when using the 60 millimeter, I don't have that lens, so I can't answer that question, but let me pull it up. If anyone can answer this for her. When using the 60 millimeter macro lens, when you hold down the 1:1 dial, that puts in the manual focus mode. I have no idea. I don't think it does, but I don't know. I don't have that lens. But if anyone has that lens, you can ask. Like Rob Shoot Photos on Instagram uses that lens a lot. There's a lot of people here who have that lens, so maybe you can answer that for her. I'm sorry, Marcia. And then just seen Jimmy Chang's. I saw the thumbnail for the monopod from Jimmy, and looks useful to help stabilize my EM1X and 150 to 400 lens shooting, etc. I don't know. I didn't watch the video, so I can't comment on that monopod. I have two monopods. I have a Siru P something, and then I have my normal Mi Photo tripod that you can take the leg off and it becomes a monopod, right? I don't see how any monopod can be better than that. Oh. But I have a Seru my Seru monopod's in my car because I use it for video work. But you know, this is the Me Photo Road Tripper. It's maybe $130 or $150, but you know, you take the leg off like this, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this. You take the stalk out and then you just attach it. And you know, voila. You have this monopod, right? I don't know. I've never had a need to buy a dedicated monopod. Now the only disadvantage is this doesn't have like I did buy okay, so I did buy a second monopod because it has the feet on it, right? The three legs that come off, and I use that for my video work. But for a straight up monopod, I don't see a need for it when the legs come off the tripod, right? For most people, I mean, like everything, there's always caveats, but for most people, I think you can get away with that. And Annette is answering Marsha's question. So if you hold down the 1-to-1 button on the 60 macro, it's still in autofocus mode until and then until you let go, right? Thank you. Oops, how do I turn that off? Okay. That's what your new tripod will do, right? Yeah, that makes sense. So Randy's saying his new tripod does the same thing. But this is awesome. I rarely use this way now that I got my Seru tripod is awesome. That's a heavy duty tripod and I paid that was like $150 too. I don't remember exactly. I bought it years ago for my real estate photography and then I ended up going to a tripod and now I use that monopod for video work because I can tilt it on its legs and maintain a straight angle as I'm anyway. You guys have seen my real estate videos where I use it, I think. So all right, I think I hit all of the chat. What? You want to go out? Oh, that's what it is. I need to let Ellie out, maybe go for a walk. So I'll end it here. Everybody, you know, I really appreciate you guys coming in today and hanging out with me. Where did my chat window go? But yeah, Ellie needs to go out, so I need to go, and I've been here for a while. But thanks everyone for taking your time out of your day to join me. I really appreciate it. Look for some new videos this week from me on bracketing and Olympus Workspace. And I may do a live stream Tuesday with photo editing. So look for that too. So going to be a busy week for me this week. So you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you again soon.